One stock that is poised to rocket upwards. It's Rocket Lab, RKLB. They are at a recent sideways pivot level. There's no way to invest in SpaceX. They are the way to invest in rockets that's publicly traded, unless you want to jump into LUNR, which has not been as explosive as Rocket Lab. We can look at the chart to show you what I'm talking about. But if you like looking at charts, we'll do that. I'm also going to talk about recent catalysts, government contracts, as well as potential dilution. In other words, if the company sells shares out into the market, that could lower the share price because there's more supply of shares available. It helps them raise money, but at the same time, we want them to succeed, but we want them to succeed and also for us to make money in the short term. So that's what we do as stock investors. And if you haven't hit that like button yet, hit that right now and we'll get started.
This is Sam Putnam. This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
Couple Discord testimonials as well here. This is the first one on this side, and here is the other one right here. Take a look at that, pause the video, see if those type of gains seem achievable for you. They could be. I don't know your background, but it never hurts to be around a group of people who are working hard every day at identifying the best plays. Let's jump into the chart of Rocket Lab. Here we go. This is the chart, okay? It is bouncing off this moving average and sort of been just chopping like a crazy POS. I mean, when this thing runs, it really does run back in November of 24 and then in June of 25 this year. And when we really zoom out, we can see it hasn't really done much since all the way back in 2021 when it was sort of at its apex, like a lot of these technology companies before the wind got sucked out of those sails. So here's the deal. Do you want to buy this just to get chopped around? Well, you know, as long as you're not buying right at a point like that, you know, which you kind of already had that, it seems all right. You get chopped around for a couple weeks and then get a move like whatever that is, 40, 50, 60, 70%. What's wrong with that? So I know people don't like how choppy it is, but when you're able to buy at a moving average, and you might be like, well, who cares about a moving average? It's like, well, look how it did go a little below it, undercut there, but undercut there. Here it's holding that moving average. So it's a good sign, okay? Even though this is a lower low, I guess you could say, this is still a higher low. So did have a little false breakout here, another false breakout. So is this the best time to get in it? I don't know. I think it's an okay time. I think it's a pretty good time. I think if I had made this video a week ago, you know, kind of would have been the same outcome. At some point, this thing is going to go. It's been going sideways for almost 2.5, 3 months. And if you can buy at a moving average, what it does for you is you might not be like NVIDIA where, you know, maybe you're already in this, but this is a great opportunity. We can clearly see why. I mean, we have a line going up, we have a line going sideways. Eventually this is going to get to a point where it's like, you know, the days are super compressed. It's like, is this going up? Because if it is, now's the time. This isn't quite like Rocket Lab. Rocket Lab's more like you're getting at kind of the spot where you're looking for a move kind of like this, where you get in here, whoops, you know, you might get stopped out, you might not, depending on your risk. You get in here, you give it a second shot, and then whoa, it just never looks back. And suddenly you made $20 a share and you risked $1, and sure, you lost $1 a share here, but you still made $29 a share, right? So that's the math. That's why you can risk $1 a share here, and that's worth getting in my opinion. If you don't like charts so much, you say, hey, what is this company doing? Well, they launch satellites, okay? And this is the company, okay? Rocket Lab, recent news. You can't buy SpaceX again unless you buy this holding company, which has not been a good investment, right? There's been a lot of shares being sold or holders who got their lockups unlocked up so they're able to sell their shares. Who knows exactly why that's going down, but the point is, I think it's pretty undeniable. You don't want to buy this sort of diluted form of SpaceX. This holding company doesn't just hold SpaceX. Why not own an actual publicly traded company, ticker RKLB? It's just the best you can do, unless you know someone who owns SpaceX shares and has employee shares, or can do some type of off-market transaction for you. So here's the deal. 3.5 years was short, apparently. They delivered 2 spacecraft for NASA, and they're in the same, SpaceX Geo, Austin, Texas. Okay, Texas is Tesla headquarters, of course. Blah, 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 blah. There has been some insider selling, but that was only, let's see, just recently. Doesn't seem to be a big deal. 1 million shares, when you look at the actual shares traded per day, this is over 100 million shares a day, so it's just not material. Now, sometimes these share sales are automatic as well, so they're pre-planned. And then if you look at some similar tickers, okay, Lunar, Space is the Virgin Galactic one. Those are the main ones, okay? So let's take a look at Lunar, sort of holding in there. Kind of hard to buy this after it's just basically, let's just ignore this euphoric day and say this has not really done anything interesting in the last 1.5 years. So it's hard to think this is worth buying. And then Virgin Galactic, even worse. Okay, so Rocket Lab's obviously the one to buy, and then the question becomes, with its peers not doing great, is it okay to buy? And it's like, well, it appears to not have any correlation to its peers. This is April, Lunar did go up, and then June down a little bit. So, Rocket Lab just kept going up even as Lunar was going down. So it's better just not look at the other peers, even though I know it's helpful to know that there are peers. It means it's a healthy market theme. They did get about $500 million from the U.S. Space Force. I don't know how that's different than NASA, but this was early 2024. That's a big number. And also mid-2024, $40 billion in contracts. Let's look at exactly what that means. I think Rocket Lab got a tiny piece of this $40 billion. They were listed as one of the companies. That would make more sense. They did test their engine. Did have a 70% revenue increase. So this is all 2024. So this is basically a lot of this and leading up to this initial run. The initial run really kicked off with earnings, so November. But I guess when you have earnings that are a 71% revenue increase, yeah, you can expect quite a run. This is sort of the worries about some of these companies, is dilution, like DXYZ we're talking about. So this actually did make the stock go down a little bit when this was announced just this month, but it's getting bought right back up. Don't really need to be looking at a weekly chart anymore. This actually makes more sense and is actually sort of calming to know that some of this downward move was based on that ATM announcement. So if we look at kind of when that got announced in September 15th, just about, that makes a ton of sense. So this sold off. So even though these lows are a little lower, now we kind of know why. Okay, they announced an ATM, which, fine, we know they're going to sell shares, but the timing of that announcement definitely created this sort of chart pattern, which is not as beautiful as a chart pattern like NVIDIA's, okay, which looks like what we'd expect to see. So that's actually quite reassuring to sort of get that timing nailed down. And then other than that, these are sort of ongoing challenges, so that's not going to be a problem for us when we're just looking for 3 to 5 day bursts at a minimum to sell a third to half of our position. of course, Rocket Lab is dependent on the market, and oil prices could impact aerospace, but I don't think that linkage is too definite. We can actually specifically look at crude is down today and sort of up the last 4 days. We've saw that. I was actually talking about Chevron, but money was rotating into oil, and it sort of seemed like into China stocks as well. But since then, only the China stocks have sort of held that gains. PTD was the poster child of that I think is going to break out. So I don't think the oil stocks are really that worth looking at. But in terms of correlation, at least to Rocket Lab, let's say from August 19th to September 3rd, if we look at Rocket Lab, August 19th to September 3rd, there is some correlation, okay? At least it appears like it. We could check again from late mid-July down to August 18th. I'm not sure exactly, but yeah, it's just spurious, specious. I wouldn't, this move is not represented in the Rocket Lab chart. So I can't really worry about that too much. The dilution, yeah, is something to worry about as a long, but besides that, we don't have to dive too deep into what exactly this company does, what its privately traded tickers, privately traded competitors, they would not be tickers, would they? So all we really have to say is, look, risk $1, risk below this moving average, risk this moving average, make 5, make 10, maybe it does this, maybe it comes back down, maybe it gets stopped out, maybe you don't, maybe it eventually goes, maybe it goes sideways, you can see it's kind of messy, but I do think now is a very low risk time to get in. It's not like the euphoric time where everyone's going to be talking about it, but we don't do that, okay? If I wanted to do that, I would tell you to buy Etsy, which just went up a bunch, or I would tell you to buy Shopify, which went up on an OpenAI partnership, or I would tell you to buy, QURE might actually go up more on the Huntington's disease, but BKKT just went up a ton. We're not trying to give you stocks that already went up. We're trying to get you ones that get in at low risk entries. And if you like these sort of ideas, if you want to talk in a Discord is what it's called. It's like Facebook groups, if you haven't heard of it, but it's a little more chronological. So it's like a forum. If you've heard of like web forums or email lists, just trying to reach a broad audience here. Head over to stockscommunity.com. You can try it out for $25 for 7 days. See if it's for you. $25. What is that? Like movie for a couple people? Maybe a popcorn, probably not. Give it a shot. See if it's monetarily valuable for you. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button, hit that down below. You'll get notified when these new videos come out. As soon as they come out, these testimonials are evidence of what we're doing here, and I will see you in the next one.
This is Sam Putnam. This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.